Hi, we are back to Virgil, the Bucolicon, and this is the first eclogue. We are on line 32. I'm going to firstly read it in the natural word order, then in Virgil's Latin, and then give you a translation of the phrases, and then we're going to look at the notes. Namque enim ego fatebor, dum Galatea tenebat me, nec spes libertatis erat mihi, nec cura peculii erat mihi, quam vis multa victima exiret meis septis, et quam vis multus pinguis Cassius premeretur nostrae ingratae urbi mantuae. Mea dextra non unquam redibat domum mihi gravis aere. Meliboi. Ego mirabar quid, o Amarilli, tu maesta vocares Deos. Ego mirabar qui tu patereris poma pendere in sua arbore. Titerus aberat hinc. O titere, ipsae pinus vocabant te, ipsi fontes vocabant te, haec cipsa arbusta vocabant te. Now Virgil's Latin. Namque fatebor enim dum me Galatea tenebat, nec spes libertatis erat, nec cura peculii, quam vis multa meis exiret victima septis, pinguis et ingratae premeretur Cassius urbi, non unquam gravis aere domum mi dextra redibat. Mirabar, quid moista Deos, Amarilli vocares, qui pendere sua patereris in arbore poma. Titrus hincaberat, ipsae te titere pinus, ipsi te fontes, ipsa haec arbusta vocabant. And now the translation of this text. Namque, for enim fatebor, and I will confess to it, dum Galatea, while Galatea tenebat me, had me, possessed me, erat nec spes libertatis, there was neither hope of liberty, nec cura peculi, or care of acquirement. Quam vis, although multa victima, many a victim, exiret meis septis, went out from my sheepfolds, that was to get slaughtered, et pinguis Cassius, and many fat cheese, premeretur, was pressed, ingratae urbi, for the ungrateful city. Dextra, my right hand, dextra, non unquam, did never redibat domum mihi, return home to me, gravis aere, heavy with money. So he sold his sheep, he sold his cheese, he didn't make much. Mirabar, I was thinking, I was wondering, quid, why, Amarilli, O Amarillus, moista, disconsolate, unhappy, sad, moista, vocares Deos, you were calling the gods. Qui, for whom, in other words, I wondered for whom, patereris poma, you were suffering your apples, pendere, to hang, in sua arbore, on their tree. Titerus aberat, Titerus was away, hinc, from this place. Ipsae pinus, the very pine trees, vocabant te, were calling for you. Titere, titeris. Ipsi fontes te, the very fountains called you. Haec ipsa arbusta, these very shrubs called. Now I'm going to read a free translation of this text written by Edwards. I'm going to adapt it slightly because the English is a bit old. Because, and I will admit it, while Galatea swayed me, I had neither hope of liberty nor care of wealth. Although many a victim went from my sheepfolds, and many a fat cheese was pressed for the unthankful, ungrateful city, yet never did my hand come back home heavy with money. Meliboeus, I wondered, Amaryllis, why, being unhappy, you were invoking the gods. I wondered for whom you were suffering the fruits to remain on their tree. Tityrus was away, the very pines, Tityrus, the very springs, the very shrubs were calling you. I'm going to go through the synthetical order again now, and then Virgil again, and then we're going to look at the notes. Namque enim ego fatebor, dum Galatea tenebat me, nec spes libertatis erat mihi, nec cura peculi erat mihi, quam vis multa victima exiret meis septis, et quam vis multus pinguis Cassius premeretur nostrae ingratae urbi mantuae, mea dextra non unquam redibat domum mihi gravis aere. Meliboeus, ego mirabar, quid o Amarilli, tu moista vocares Deos, ego mirabar, cui tu patereris poma pendere in sua arbore. Tityrus aberat hinc, o titere, ipsae pinus vocabat te, ipsi fontes vocabant te, haec ipsa arbusta vocabant te. And now Virgil, line 32 to line 40. Namque fatebor enim dum me Galatea tenebat, nec spes libertatis erat nec cura peculi, quam vis multa meis exiret victima septis, pinguis et ingratae premeretur Cassius urbi, non unquam gravis aere domum mihi dextra redibat. Mirabar, quid maista Deus Amarilli vocares, qui pendere sua patereris in arbore poma. Tityrus hinc aberat, ipsae te titere pinus, ipsi te fontes, ipsa haec arbusta vocabant. And now the notes. Cura peculi, care of my property, or concern about gain, about getting rich. Peculium was commonly understood to mean the private stock which a slave is permitted to enjoy, independent of his master. That's peculium. Plautus uses it to express the idea of the separate purse of a wife, made up without the knowledge of a husband. So independent finances. But it also signifies the property of a free man. And in Horace, in his Art of Poetry, in verse 330, he employs cura peculi in the sense of love of wealth or concern about getting rich. This word, no doubt, as well as pecunia, is derived from the word pecus, cattle. For before the invention of money, traffic was carried on chiefly by exchanges of cattle, and indeed many of the earlier coins have pictures of cattle stamped on them. So line 34, which I'm going to read for you now. Quam vis multa meis exiret victima septis. So line 34, manuscripts and editions differ in the punctuation of this sentence. In some of them, there's no point after septis, but a comma after pinguis in the next verse. And by this way of punctuation, pinguis then agrees with victims, so victima, fat victims, instead of with cassius, fat cheeses. And that it should do was the decided opinion of both Servius and of Fabricius. So it's up to you how you decide whether he's bringing nice heavy fat cheeses or fat lambs to the slaughter. Ingratae urbi, the thankless city, that is Mantua. Yet concerning the precise meaning of ingratae, there is, and it must be allowed, says Edwards, much doubt. The epithets unpleasant, disagreeable, hateful, detested, odious, ungrateful, luckless, ill-fated, and many more indeed, have been offered as the translation of this word in the instance before us. The patrons of allegory, unable to reconcile the Amarilli of this verse with the city of Rome, have fancied that some error may have crept into the text, and they accordingly recommend the substitution, or as they are pleased to call it, the restitution of Galatea for Amarilli. The final syllable of aberrat is lengthened by the figure of prosody called caesura in 39. Titerus hinc aberrat dipsaite titere pinus. And 40, the arbusta were large pieces of ground planted with elms and other trees, at a distance generally of about 40 feet apart. The reason for that was to leave room for corn and for vines to grow in between them. So it's a special kind of field, not just shrubbery in the sense that we would have it now. And that's 32 to 40. I'm going to read the synthetical order one more time, and then I'm going to read Virgil one more time, and that'll be the end of this episode. Namque enim ego fatebor, dum Galatea tenebat me, nec spes libertatis erat mihi, nec cura peculi erat mihi, quam vis multa victima exiret meis septis, et quam vis multus pinguis cassius premeretur nostrae ingratae urbi Mantuae, mea dextra non unquam redibat domum mihi gravis aere. Moliboius, ego mirabar quid Amarilli tu moista vocares Deos, ego mirabar qui tu patereris poma pendere in sua arbore. Titerus aberat hinc, o titere, ipsae pinus vocabant te, ipsi fontes vocabant te, haec ipsa arbusta vocabant te. And finally, 32 to 40, Virgil. Namque fatebor enim dum me Galatea tenebat, nec spes libertatis erat, nec cura peculi, quam vis multa meis exiret victima septis, pinguis et ingratae premeretur cassius urbi, non unquam gravis aere domum mihi dextra redibat. Mirabar, quid moista Deos Amarilli vocares, qui pendere sua patereris in arbore poma. Titerus hinc aberat, ipsae te titere pinus, ipsi te fontes, ipsa haec arbusta vocabant. And that's the end of this section. Bye.